first name is Senzo and then surname will be Thwala.
Wathi la igama lomuntu ebhaliswe ngayo le foni uSilo wakaThwala.
And just below that, the physical address of the registered owner appears, or the person in whose name the cell phone is recorded appears. Is that correct?
That's correct. The physical address will be number 4, Heidelberg Road, extension 6, Glen Vista, extension 2, Johannesburg.
Lapha ke kuthiwa indawo la ihlala khona ikheli lakhe number 4 Heidelberg Street eGlen Vista.
And then just to come back to your affidavit, exhibit triple P, on page 1 of your of the report, the tracker report. The very first entry there appears an address at 053454 on the 24th of October 2014. What is that address? Can you just place that on record? The location.
The location on the trip log for 053454 will be Heidelberg Place, Glen Vista, Johannesburg, Gauteng, South Africa.
So ikheli elivela lapho ke emgqini wokuqala uHeidelberg Place, Glen Vista, Johannesburg, Gauteng, South Africa.
Now, what is your comment regarding the RICA, the address on the RICA information that you've just placed on record, and this address that appears on the tracker report?
Both of them are Glen Vista, Johannesburg area, so it's the same area.
Athi indawo yethu ngoba zombili lezi indawo ziseGlen Vista eJohannesburg.
And the street address?
That will be Heidelberg Place, Glen Vista, Johannesburg, Gauteng.
Athi ke lapho umgwaqo usewodwa uHeidelberg Place.
Thank you. Can we then get back to where we stopped on Thursday, in respect of the tracker report, exhibit triple P, in light of the fact that Mr. Mgumi, one of our colleagues took ill, perhaps we should just start at his request on page 45 of exhibit triple P. There's trip number 74 on the 26th of October. If I can then just ask you to turn the page over to page 46. At the time, 18:57 and 29 seconds. Just place the details of the trip log on record again.
At 18:57:29, the trip log shows that the vehicle is moving in Kutlanong Street, Vosloorus, Gauteng, South Africa.
So ngo-1857-29 ngibonakala sengathi imoto iyahamba emgwaqweni uKutlanong Street ose-Vosloorus.
I just want to show you a document which says as Exhibit O in brackets 1. There's the affidavit of Lieutenant Colonel Stein, who has already testified And these are the downloads of the cell phone number that you've just placed on record. Page 44. Page 44. That will be page 44 of exhibit O in bracket 1. Just read that, place that portion that that starts with download in the middle of the sentence.
Download summary of cell phone 276080400436 Longwe Thwala. Remember plus 2 hours.
Thank you.
Chakelana-ke ufingwa ukudownloada okwenzeka eselfonini u-06080400436 ulongwe Thwala. Kuthiwa-ke khumbula bese kuthiwa-ke 2 hours.
If I can then ask you to turn to page 46 of the same exhibit, triple O in brackets 1. The very last entry there, a message from this number that you've just placed on record was sent to a number 074-676-6669. At the bottom of that page, in the column, there's a date. Just put the date on record.
The date will be 2014-10-26.
Kuthiwa lapha usuku oluvelayo lapha umhla ka-26 enyangeni ka-October 2014.
And just place the time on record as well.
The time will be 04:57:36.
Isikhathi-ke u-04:57:36.
If you add the 2 hours, as you've just placed on record in terms of page 44, what will then the time be?
The time will be 06:57:36.
Bathe uma senzela-ke amahawu amabili isikhathi kuzo-06:57:36 kwemizuzwana.
If I can then refer you to exhibit triple J again, the downloads, I'm sorry, the section 205 of the very same number that you've just placed on record. If you can place the cell phone number and the time as well, the first entry that has been highlighted with an asterisk.
The cell phone number will be 276080400436.
Yes, and the
Number go 276080400436.
and the date.
The date will be 26 October 2014.
Usuku-ke umhla 26 October 2014.
And the time.
The time will be 18:57:35.
Isikhathi-ke u-18:57:35.
The other party, the cell phone number of the other party.
The other party's cell phone number will be 2774676669.
Manje-ke lenye-ke inamba ekuxhunyana nayo u-074-676-6669.
Can we then get back to the triple O? on the 26th of October 2014 at 18:57. Just place the particulars thereof on record
On the
at
trip,
18:57:29.
on the trip log, 18:57:29, vehicle shows moving Kutlanong Street, Vosloorus, Gauteng, South Africa.
Isikhathi esika 1857-29 imoto ikhombisa ihamba ku-Thwala Street eFosloras.
Now, how does this time that reflects in the trip log compare to the times that have just placed on record in respect of the cell phone downloads of that number, as well as the section 205 that you've just read out?
The times are the same.
Lezi ikhathi ke zibonakala lapha ku-trip log nalezi ezibonakala ngalena kumafoni zibonakala ziyisikhathi ezifanayo.
Thank you. You can then proceed to the next entry at 18:58.
At 18:58:34, the vehicle shows ignition off, Kutlanong Street, Vosloorus, Gauteng, South Africa.
Ngesikhathi sika 1858 nemizuzwana engamashumi amathathu nane imoto ibonakala icima isemgaqweni ku-Thwala Street eFosloras.
Yes. Oh, yes. Did you place the status on record, sorry? Good. Yes.
Yes, the vehicle shows ignition
Ignition
off
off, yeah.
at 18:58:34, Kutlanong Street, Vosloorus, Gauteng.
Imoto ikhombisa icima ngo-1858-34 isemgaqweni ku-Thwala Street eFosloras eGauteng.
Now, if we can just go back to Exhibit 01, the downloads of the cell phone that we just referred to at 18:57, can you just place the SMS that was sent to that number that you've placed on record, 074-676-666-9. The message should appear just next to the date and the time that you've placed on record.
The message says, I'm outside.
Umlayezo lapha ke oya kule number 074-676-666-9 uthi ke ngingaphandle.
Now, there has also been an exhibit triple J, in brackets, triple J 7, in brackets A. So it's exhibit triple J 7, in brackets A, on page, this, it's a document that was handed up by Ms. Pinky Fathiligem of Vodacom. It shows tower locations and distances. If I can just ask you to, there appears an address at the top of this exhibit. Just next to sites, there appears an address. Just put that address on record right at the top.
Kutlanong Street, Vosloorus.
Keli ke livela lapho ku-Thwala Street eFosloras.
And the number, the street number,
13511, Kutlanong Street.
Number ke 13511 ku-Thwala Street.
just look at the ones, there should be another one there. Just place it again on record, the address.
physical address of site will be 1816 Ramoklo Street, Spruitview.
No, the address that you've just read into the report is, read the details again in the report.
Okay,
Kutlwanong Street, yes.
that will be 13511 Kutlwanong Street, Vosloorus.
Okay.
Number ke le lapha ethi 13511 Kutlwanong Street eFosloras.
Thank you. And it's described as what in that document?
In brackets, it states crime scene.
Thank you.
Manje kokufakiwe lapha kuthiwa indawo yesigameko.
Thank you. We can then get back to your affidavit, Exhibit Triple P. You had just placed a trip lock at the time 18:58 and 34 seconds. Can you then proceed to the next entry?
The next entry, 1900 hours and 14 seconds. It shows ignition on Kutlwanong Street, Vosloorus.
Esikhathi ke u-19 hours namizuzwana u-14 ikhombisa lapha ungathi imoto iyastartwa lapha iseKutlwanong Street eFosloras.
Yes, next entry.
Then the next entry shows ignition off 1901:28 Kutlwanong Street, Vosloorus, Gauteng.
Sithi isikhathi ku-1901:28 ibonisa lapha imoto yaphinde yacinywa futhi isemgwaqweni uKutlwanong Street eFosloras.
Yes, next entry.
Next entry shows motion, ignition off, GPS unlock 2043:34 at Kutlwanong Street, Vosloorus, Gauteng.
So lapha u-2043 ikhombisa lapha uthi imoto iyanyakaza kodwa ke ukhiye usacinyiwe and iyabonakala ukuthi i-GPS iyavuleka kodwa sesekuwona lo mgwaqo uKutlwanong Street eFosloras.
Yes. Next entry.
Next entry, vehicle shows ignition off at 20:44 at Kutlwanong Street, Vosloorus, Gauteng.
Ngesikhathi esika-2043 imoto ikhombisa ke ukuthi icinyiwe kuwona lo mgwaqo uKutlwanong Street eFosloras.
Yes, next entry.
Next entry, the vehicle shows ignition on at 20:46 and 13 seconds. It shows ignition on Kutlwanong Street, Vosloorus, Gauteng.
Manje kuyabonakala lapha isikhathi u-20:46 and 13 seconds lapha imoto isekuwona lo mgwaqo uKutlwanong Street eFosloras iyakhombisa ukuthi ke imoto ke ukhiye usukhanyisile.
Yes, next entry.
Next entry, the vehicle shows moving at 20:46:31 at Kutlwanong Street, Vosloorus, Gauteng.
Njengo isikhathi ka-20:46:31 imoto ikhombisa lapha isikuwona umgwaqo uKutlwanong Street eFosloras kodwa manje isiyahamba.
Next entry, vehicle shows moving at 20:46:40 at Leseding Street, Vosloorus, Gauteng, South Africa.
Manje ngesikhathi ka-26:40 imoto ikhombisa ukuthi isiyahamba yanyakaza emgwaqweni okuthiwa yi-Leseding Street khona eFosloras.
Next entry, vehicle shows moving 20:46:54 at Moagi Street, Vosloorus, Gauteng.
Ngo-20:46:54 imoto ke ikhombisa ukunyakaza okusho ukuthi iyahamba iseMoagi Street eFosloras eGauteng.
Thank you. Just remember to place the speed at which the vehicle was moving on record as well.
Next entry, the vehicle shows moving at a speed of 24 kilometers an hour at 20:49:00 at Moagi Street, Spruitview, Katlehong.
Manje imoto ngo-20:49 ikhombisa ukuhamba ngesivinini sikamashumi amabili nane amakilometer ihamba ke kuMuache Street eSpraight View eKatlehong.
Next entry, the vehicle shows moving at 28 kilometers an hour at Leseding Street, Vosloorus at 20:49 and 30 seconds.
Ngesikhathi ke 20:49 and 30 seconds le moto ikhombisa ikuseLeseding Street oseVosloorus ihamba ngesivinini esingu 28 kilometers.
Next entry, the vehicle shows moving at 24 kilometers an hour at 20:49 and 41 seconds at Kutwanong Street, Vosloorus.
Lapho ku 20:49 nemizuzwana engu-41 imoto ikhombisa ikulomgwaqo uKutwanong Street eVosloorus ihamba ngesivinini esiwu 24 kilometers per hour khona lapha eVosloorus.
In other words, the vehicle returns to that original address that took place on record earlier on at 1857.
That's correct.
So imoto ibonakala ibuyela kuleli khele elikhulunywa ngalo ngalesi sikhathi sika 1857 eKutwanong Street.
Yes, next entry.
Next entry, vehicle is moving 26 kilometers an hour at 20:51:50 at Kutwanong Street, Vosloorus.
Imoto ke ibonakala ihamba ngesivinini esiwu 26 kilometers per hour ngesikhathi sika 20:51 and 50 seconds isekuwona nomgwaqo uKutwanong Street.
Yes. If I can ask you to first start on with the time and then start on the left, then move to the right, just to make it easier to follow. Yes.
At 20:52:01 at Leseding Street, Vosloorus, vehicle is moving at 20 kilometers an hour.
Ngesikhathi esa 20:52:01 imoto ke ibonakala ekulomgwaqo uLeseding Street oseVosloorus hamba ngesivinini samashumi amabili amakilometer.
At 20:52:34 at Leseding Street, Vosloorus, vehicle is moving at 20 kilometers an hour.
Ngesikhathi sika 20:52 nemizuzwana engamashumi amathathu nane imoto isekuLeseding Street eVosloorus ihamba ngesivinini samashumi amabili amakilometer.
At 20:55:34 at Nombela Drive, Vosloorus, vehicle is moving at 69 kilometers an hour.
Ngesikhathi sika 20:55 and 34 imoto ke ikulomgwaqo okuthiwa uNombela Drive eVosloorus ihamba ngesivinini sika 69 kilometers per hour.
At 20:57:30 at Sam Sukwati Avenue, Vosloorus, a vehicle is moving at 24 kilometers an hour.
Ngesikhathi sika 20:57:30 imoto ibonakala ihamba ngomgwaqo uSamsikwati Avenue eVosloorus hamba ngesivinini ke sika 24 kilometers.
At 20:57:33 at Sam Sukwati Avenue, Vosloorus, vehicle is moving at 13 kilometers an hour.
So ke ngesikhathi sika 20:57:33 kwemizuzwana imoto isekuwona nomgwaqo uSamsikwati Avenue eVosloorus ihamba ngesivinini sika 13 kilometers ishumi nantathu.
At 20:57:50 at Sam Sukwati Avenue, Vosloorus, vehicle shows moving at 15 kilometers an hour.
So ngesikhathi sika 20:57:50 imoto isekuwona nomgwaqo uSamsikwati Avenue eVosloorus ihamba ngesivinini esingu 15 kilometers per hour.
At 20:58:02 at Sam Sukwati Avenue, Vosloorus, Gauteng, the vehicle shows ignition off.
Ngesikhathi ke sika 20:58 nemizuzwana emibili imoto ikuwona nomgwaqo uSamsikwati Avenue eVosloorus kodwa ke ikhombisa lapha ke ukhiye usicinyiwe.
I just want to show you an extract of the section 205 of the cell phone number that I've just placed on record earlier on. is page Malot, page 4632 of exhibit triple J1. If you can just place those particulars on record again. There the asterisk.
The number will be 27608040436.
Number again about 27608040436.
The date shows 26 October 24 and the time will be 20:59:25. 26 October 2014 and the time is 20:59:25.
Usuku lapha ngomhla 26 October 2014 isikhathi 20:59:25.
And then under cell name it gives 3G clinics for Sloeris.
Manje ke ithawa ukusetshenziswa lapha inika i3G clinics for Sloeris.
Thank you. If I can then refer you back to exhibit triple J7 in brackets A. The address of the different towers are reflected. If you can just place the address of the tower clinics on record. There where the asterisk is. But just read out the tower name.
The tower name will be for Sloeris.
No, there where there's the asterisk.
For Sloeris Square
No, clinics.
Clinics.
Yes.
Okay, the site name is Cliniques.
Yes.
And then the physical address of site will be 9 Sam Sekwati Avenue, Marimba Gardens for Sloeris.
So ke lapho uthawa kuyi-clinics khona kuthiwa ikheli lakhona unumber 9 Semsikwati Avenue Marimba Gardens for Sloeris.
Thank you. You can then proceed. So this address, Sam Sekwati Avenue, that is where the tower clinics is located. Would that be correct?
That's correct.
So ke ithawa lena ikhona lapha kuleyo mgwaqo Semsikwati Street.
Yes, you can place the next entry on record.
At 21:04:09 at Sam Sekwati Avenue, the vehicle shows motion ignition off.
Isikhathi sa 29:04:09 imoto ke isekhona nomgwaqo Semsikwati Avenue for Sloeris. Imoto ke ikhombisa ukunyakaza kodwa ke isacinyiwe.
Once again, I'm going to refer you to the extract of the section 205, which have been handed in as exhibit triple J in bracket 1 through Ms. Pinky Thillingham. That will be Malot page 2186 of exhibit triple J1. If you can just place this particulars on record. Just the cell phone number, the second asterisk, the cell phone number, as well as the date and time and the tower name.
cell phone number will be 2760-804-0436.
Your cell phone number is 27 608 040436.
The date will be 26 October 2014.
So on 26 October 2014.
The time will be 21:05:37.
Isikhathi ke u21:05:37.
Third party,
No, just
Just
place
the-
the cell, the
And-
tower name.
the cell name will be 3G Clinics for Sloris.
Itawa ke lesetshenziswa lapho i3G clinics for Sloras.
The time that is just placed on record, how does it compare with the time that's reflected in the trip log, the one that you've just placed on record?
The time on the trip log will be 21:04:09, and then the time on the evidence will be 21:05:37.
Isikhathi ke lapha ke ku-trip log u21:04:09 lapha ke kulombiko wamafoni u21:05:37.
Thank you. You can then place the next entry on record.
At 23:02:58 at Sam Sekwati Avenue for Sloris, the vehicle states ignition on, GPS unlock.
So lapha isikhathi u23:02:58 imoto isekulomgwaqo uSamsikwati Avenue for Sloras ikhombisa lapha imoto ikukhona istartwa kuthiwa ne-GPS ke nayo ke iyasiyavuleka.
Here's the next entry.
Next entry at 23:03:04 at Sam Sekwati Avenue for Sloris, Gauteng, the vehicle shows stopped, GPS unlock.
Manje ke lapha isikhathi ka23:03:04 isakubona nomgwaqo uSamsikwati Avenue for Sloras le moto ikhombisa ukuthi isimile i-GPS ke nayo ke isavulile.
Next entry. Yeah, you can just proceed and put all those entries on record.
At 23:03:12 at Sam Sekwati Avenue for Sloris, vehicle shows stopped.
Isikhathi ka23:03:12 kuSamsikwati Avenue imoto ikhombisa ukuma.
At 23:06:12 at Sam Sekwati Avenue for Sloris, vehicle shows stopped.
Isikhathi ka23:06:12 kuwona umgwaqo uSamsikwati Street imoto ikhombisa ukuma.
At 23:09:12 at Sam Sekwati Avenue for Sloris, vehicle shows stopped.
Isikhathi ka23:12 kuwona umgwaqo uSamsikwati Avenue imoto ikhombisa imile.
At 23:12:12 at Sam Sekwati Avenue for Sloris, vehicle shows stopped.
Isikhathi ka23:12 imizuzwana emgwaqweni uSamsikwati Avenue for Sloras imoto ikhombisa ukuthi imile.
At 23:12:16 at Sam Sekwati Avenue for Sloris, vehicle shows moving at 22 kilometers an hour.
Ngesikhathi esika23:12:16 seconds lapha ke kumgwaqo uSamsikwati Avenue for Sloras imoto ikhombisa ukunyakaza ihamba ngesivinini esingama-22.
At 23:15:16 at Nombela Drive for Sloris, vehicle shows moving at 50 kilometers an hour.
Ngesikhathi esika23:15 emgwaqweni uNombela Drive for Sloras imoto ikhombisa ukunyakaza ihamba ngesivinini esingama-50 amakhilomitha.
At 23:18:16 at Nombela Drive for Sloris, vehicle shows moving at 33 kilometers an hour.
Isikhathi ka23:18 and 16 imoto isikuNombela Drive for Sloras ikhombisa ukuthi imoto iyahamba ngesivinini esika-33 kilometers per hour.
At 23:19:38 at Mohagi Street for Sloris, Vehicle shows moving at 24 kilometers an hour.
Isikhathi 23, 19 and 38 imoto ikhombisa ikulo mgwaqo okuthiwa uMuwahi Street eFosloras ihamba ngesivinini 24 kilometers per hour.
At 23:20:02 at Leseding Street, Vosloorus, vehicle shows moving at 17 kilometers an hour.
Isikhathi ke sika 23:20 nemizuzwana emibili imoto ikhombisa Leseding Street eFosloras ihamba ke ngesivinini 17 kilometers 70 kilometers ngehora.
At 23:22:10 at Kutwanong Street, Vosloorus, vehicle shows ignition off.
Ngesikhathi ke sika 23:22 nemizuzwana eyileshumi imoto ibonakala iKutwanong Street imile futhi ke nokiye ucishiwe.
And Kutwala Street is the address that you earlier placed on record in terms of Exhibit J7A as the crime scene.
That's
Is it
correct.
Leya ndawo ke uKutwanong Street ke isibekiwe phambi kwenkantolo ukuthi iyona ndawo la kwenzeke khona lobugebengu.
Yes, you may proceed. Next entry.
At 23:55:42 at Kutwanong Street, Vosloorus, vehicle shows ignition on, GPS unlock.
Lapha ke ngesikhathi sika 23:55 and 42 imoto ibonakala lo mgwaqo uKutwanong Street eFosloras eGauteng isamile yona kodwa ke ukhiye ke usuka insini.
At 23:55:48 at Kutwanong Street, Vosloorus, vehicle shows stop.
Ngesikhathi sika 23:55:48 wemizuzwana imoto isekona uKutwanong Street eFosloras ikhombisa imoto imile.
At 23:55:50 at Kutwanong Street, Vosloorus, vehicle shows stop.
Ngesikhathi sika 23:55 nemizuzwana eyamashumi amahlanu kuwona umgwaqo uKutwanong Street eFosloras imoto ibonakala imile.
At 23:55:59 at Kutwanong Street, Vosloorus, vehicle shows ignition off.
Ngesikhathi sika 23:55:59 kwemizuzwana imoto ikuseKutwanong Street eFosloras lapho ke imoto ikhombisa ke ukhiye usucishiwe.
At 00:17:09 at Kutwanong Street, Vosloorus, vehicle shows motion, ignition off, GPS unlock.
Kwaye lapho ngesikhathi ke sika 00:17:09 lapha imoto ikuKutwanong Street eFosloras imoto ibonakala inyakaza kodwa isacinyiwe ayistartiwe.
At 00:17:15 at Kutwanong Street, Vosloorus, vehicle shows ignition off.
Ngesikhathi ya 17:15 kusho ukuthi 12 imoto kuwona umgwaqo uKutwanong Street eFosloras ikhombisa lapho ke isicishiwe.
At 00:21:17 at Kutwanong Street, Vosloorus, vehicle shows motion, ignition off.
Lapha ngesikhathi sika 21:17 uKutwanong Street imoto eFosloras ibonakala sengathi yanyakaza kodwa ke ukhiya awustartiwe.
At 00:21:22 at Kutwanong Street, Vosloorus, vehicle shows ignition on.
Ngesikhathi sika 12 eKutwanong Street eFosloras imoto ikhombisa ke ukuthi isistartiwe.
Just place the date on record.
The date will be 2014-10-27.
Kusho ukuthi mhla 27 wenyangeni kaOctober 2014.
And starting with the trip number 79 at 00:17:09, what is the date?
The date will be 2014-10-27.
suku lapho mhla 27 October 2014.
Thank you. You can proceed.
At 00:21:26 at Kutwanong Street, Vosloorus, vehicle shows stopped.
Isikhathi ka 021 minutes past 12 suku kuKutlanong Street eFosloras imoto ibonakala imi.
At 00:21:27 at Kutwanong Street, Vosloorus, vehicle shows stopped.
Ngesikhathi ka 0021 nemizuzwana yo-27 kuwona umgwaqo kuKutlanong Street eFosloras imoto imi.
At 00:22:27 at Kutwanong Street, Vosloorus, vehicle shows ignition off.
Manje-ke ngesikhathi ka 022:27 eKutlanong Street eFosloras imoto isicinyiwe.
At 02:15:45 at Kutwanong Street, Vosloorus, vehicle indicates motion, ignition off, GPS unlock.
Ngesikhathi esika 15 minutes past 2 imoto kuwona umgwaqo uKutlanong Street eFosloras ikhombisa ukunyakaza kodwa ke ayistartiwe isacinyiwe.
At 02:15:50 at Kutwanong Street, Vosloorus, vehicle shows ignition on.
Ngesikhathi esika 15 minutes past 2 no-50 wemizuzwana imoto ikuKutlanong Street eFosloras ikhombisa ke ukuthi ukhiye kwemoto usustartiwe.
At 02:15:53 at Kutwanong Street, Vosloorus, vehicle shows stopped.
Ngesikhathi ka 2:53 wemizuzwana imoto ikuKutlanong Street ikhombisa ukuthi imoto imile.
At 02:15:58 at Kutwanong Street, Vosloorus, vehicle indicates stopped.
Isikhathi ka 2:15 and 58 seconds imoto ikuKutlanong Street eFosloras ikhombisa ukuthi imoto ayinyakazi.
At 02:16:05 at Kutwanong Street, Vosloorus, vehicle shows ignition off.
Imoto ngesikhathi esika 2016:05 imoto ikuwona umgwaqo uKutlanong Street eFosloras ikhombisa lapha ukuthi ke ukhiyeke wemoto usucinyiwe.
At 02:16:52 at Kutwanong Street, Vosloorus, vehicle shows ignition on.
Isikhathi esika 16 minutes past 2 nemizuzwana eyamashumi ayisihlanu nambili imoto ikuKutlanong Street eFosloras ikhombisa ke ukuthi isistartiwe.
At 02:19:36 at Kutwanong Street, Vosloorus, vehicle shows ignition off.
Ngesikhathi esika 2:19:36 kusho to 19 minutes past 2 eKutlanong Street imoto ikhombisa ke ukucinywa ke kukakhiye wemoto.
At 02:19:59 at Kutwanong Street, Vosloorus, vehicle shows ignition on.
Isikhathi ka 2:19:59 kuwona uKutlanong Street imoto ikhombisa ke ukuthi ukhiyeke usustartiwe futhi.
At 02:21:16 at Mohagi Street, Vosloorus, vehicle shows moving at 20 kilometers an hour.
Ngesikhathi ka 2:21:16 kumgwaqo uMoagi Street eFosloras imoto ikhombisa ukunyakaza ihamba ngesivinini esamashumi amabili amakilometha.
In other words, the vehicle is moving away from Kutlanong Street, which, as you've read out, it's described as a crime scene.
That's correct.
But kubonakala imoto ke isisuka kule ndawo uKutlanong Street indawo yobugebengu.
The entries that follow thereafter are not of much importance. If I can ask you to turn to page 50. At 02:38, 11 seconds. If you can just place those entries from that time.
At 02:38:11 at Grasvol Crescent, Liefde and Vrede, Johannesburg, Gauteng, Vehicle shows moving.
So isikhathi ke sika 2:38 imoto ilapha eGas fuel Crescent eLifton Vrede eGoli. Imoto ke ikhombisa ukuthi iyanyakaza hamba ngo-24 kilometers per hour.
At 02:40:45 at Grasville Crescent, Lifton Vrede, Johannesburg, vehicle shows moving at 13 kilometers an hour.
Isikhathi isikhathi 2:40 ushuthi 40 minutes past 2 imoto ise-Grasville Crescent eLifton Vrede eJohannesburg iyabona imoto iyakhombisa ukuthi iyanyakaza hamba ngejubane elungu 13 kilometers per hour.
At 02:41:03 at Grasville Crescent, Lifton Vrede, Johannesburg, the vehicle shows moving 13 kilometers an hour.
Yes, no, 41 minutes past 2 Grasville Crescent eLifton Vrede eJohannesburg imoto ihamba lapha ngo-13 kilometers per hour.
At 02:41:37 at Grasville Crescent, Lifton Vrede, Johannesburg, the vehicle shows ignition off.
Isikhathi iska 41 minutes past 2 imizuzwana ihamashumi amathathu nesikhombisa imoto ikulapha kumgwaqo uGrasville Crescent eLifton Vrede eJohannesburg imoto iyabonakala ukuthi icishiwe.
I just want to show you at this stage a certification of death by Dr. Mchekwani at Butsilong Hospital, which serves as Exhibit G before this court. If you can just place the details there, starting with patient brought in by, there's a name there, just place that on record.
In by name, it shows Miss K. Kumalu plus relatives.
So lapha ke isigulane lesi silethwe uMiss K Khumalo nezihlobo.
And her address?
Address states 55 Logan's View, Grasville.
Manje ke ikheli ke lapha lithi 55 Logan's View eGrasville.
Now, this Grasville that appears on Exhibit J, how does it compare with the address Grasville Crescent that appears on the trip log?
It's the same.
Athi ke lamakheli ayafana kuleli elivela lapha kuleli kheli elifakwe lawa phelezele isigulane naleli elibonakala ngelesi sikhathi kubonakala la imoto efike yamakhoba.
Yes, you may proceed.
At 02:42:30 at Grasville Crescent, Lifton Vrede, Johannesburg, vehicle shows ignition on.
Manje ke isikhathi sika 2:42:30 eGrasville Crescent eLifton Vrede imoto ikhombisa ke ukhe ustart.
At 02:42:31 at Grasville Crescent, Lifton Vrede, Johannesburg, vehicle shows ignition off.
Isikhathi sika 02:42:31 lapha eGrasville Crescent eLifton Vrede imoto ke iyacinywa futhi.
At 03:49:20 at Grasville Crescent, Lifton Vrede, Johannesburg, vehicle shows motion, ignition off, GPS unlock.
Isikhathi ke sika 3:49:20 lapha kuGrasville Crescent eLifton Vrede imoto ikhombisa ukunyakaza kodwa ke yona ayisakhanyisi ukhisacishiwe ne-GPS ikhombisa kodwa ukuthi yona isikhanyisi.
At 03:49:21 at Grasville Crescent, Lifton Vrede, Johannesburg, vehicle shows ignition on, GPS unlock.
So ngesikhathi sika 3:49:21 eGrasville Crescent eLifton Vrede eJohannesburg imoto ikhombisa ukuthi ukhinye wemoto usukhanyisiwe.
At 03:49:23 at Grasville Crescent, Lifton Vrede, Johannesburg, vehicle shows stop.
Isikhathi sika 3:49:23 eGrasville Crescent eLifton Vrede eJohannesburg imoto ikhombisa ukuthi imile.
At At 03:49:29 at Grasville Crescent, Liefde and Vrede, Johannesburg, the vehicle shows stopped.
Isikhathi ka-3:49:29 Grasville Crescent eLifton Frede eJohannesburg imoto ekhombisa ukuthi imile.
At 03:49:37 at Grasville Crescent, Liefde and Vrede, Johannesburg, the vehicle shows moving at 17 kilometers an hour.
Ngesikhathi ke sika-3:49:37 03:49:37 umzuzwana imoto ikhona umgwaqo uGrasville Crescent eLifte and Frede eJohannesburg ikhombisa ukuthi imoto ihamba ngejubane lingu-17 kilometers per hour.
At 03:49:39 at Grasville Crescent, Liefde and Vrede, Johannesburg, the vehicle shows moving at 17 kilometers an hour.
Ngesikhathi sika 49 minutes past 3 nemizuzwana eyamashumi amathathu nesishiyagalolunye imoto esekuGrasville Crescent eLifte and Frede eJohannesburg ikhombisa ukunyakaza ehamba ke ngejubane lu-17 kilometers per hour.
At 03:52:39 at Grasville Crescent, Liefde and Vrede, Johannesburg, the vehicle shows stopped.
Isikhathi sika 03:52:39 imoto isekuGrasville Crescent eLifte and Frede eJohannesburg imoto ikhombisa ukuthi isimile.
At 03:55:38 at Grasville Crescent, Liefde and Vrede, Johannesburg, vehicle shows moving at 20 kilometers an hour.
Ngesikhathi sika 3:55:38 second imoto isekumgwaqo lona uGrasville Crescent eLifte and Frede eJohannesburg ikhombisa ukunyakaza ukuhamba ijubane layo lapha u-20 kilometers per hour.
In other words, the vehicle is now leaving the address Grasville Crescent.
That's correct.
Le moto siyasuka kulo mgwaqo uGrasville Crescent.
For how long was this vehicle at that address?
Imoto ke lena ingabe ihlala isikhathi singakanani ke kubhekekele?
The vehicle went ignition off at Grasville Crescent at 02:41:37.
Bathi ke le moto lena ifike yacisha ngo-02:41 ushuthi yila ifike yacima khona ngo-02:41:37 so almost second.
And then it went ignition on at 03:49:21.
Manje ke starte futhi ke ngesikhathi sika 03:49 ne-41 umzuzwana.
So it would be just over an hour.
Bonakala sengathi ke ngathi ihlale ngaphezudlwana kwehora.
At 03:52:39 second, it shows stop. When the previous status showed that the vehicle was moving, and just after that entry, where it shows stop, starts moving. What is a possible explanation for that?
If it's inside of a complex, most complexes have boom gates, security officers at the entry. So it could possibly, the vehicle stopped there, so it could possibly be at the entry exit of the complex.
Tshwaya lapho incazelo echaza ukuthi yini imoto ibonakala ihamba ibuye ima ibuye ihamba ngesikhathi esifishane. Tshwaya lapho mhlambe ngabe kukhona ke kwamanye ama-complex la kufike kubekwe ama-boom la wenze ukuthi amise iy'moto ingabe imiswa yikona lowo.
Now, the next series of entries are not really of much importance. If you can go to the entry at 04:03:21 on the 27th of October 2014.
At 04:03:21 at Helderberg Place, Glen Vista, Johannesburg, the vehicle shows ignition off.
Tshwaya ngesikhathi ka 04:03:21 eHelderberg Place eGlen Vista Johannesburg imoto ikhomba lapha ukuthi iyacima.
Now, this is the address that you placed on record earlier on when you were reading the RICA information, as the address in whose name the cell phone that you've placed on record was RICA. Is that correct?
That's correct.
But I don't know locally SLB when I have my cell phone record.
Yes, next entry.
Next entry, 040710 at Helderberg Place, Glen Vista, Johannesburg. The vehicle shows motion, ignition off.
So it's Cascos 04710 Helderberg Place Glen Vista. Imoto ibonakala kukhona ukunyakaza kodwa ke ayistartile.
At 040711 at Helderberg Place, Glen Vista, Johannesburg. The vehicle shows ignition on.
Kuthe ngo-04711 eHelderberg Place eGlen Vista Johannesburg imoto ekhombisa ukuthi uphiya usustarthiwe.
At 040728 at Helderberg Place, Glen Vista, Johannesburg. The vehicle shows ignition off.
Isikhathi ka-0728 khona eHelderberg Place eGlen Vista imoto ekhombisa ukuthi icinyiwe.
As a court, please. Will this be an appropriate time to take the usual short adjournment?
Okay.
11.